I was having a weird thought. You know how like in the multiverse of madness for Marvel, you find out like there's all of these like different universes and that exist.
Mhm.
What if that also technically applies to Star Wars? Like I mean like you could assume so, but it's never like specified. What if there is a alternate reality where Obi-Wan post Order 66 is throwing that ass in like a Tatooine strip club where Palpatine is his like gay pimp?
I mean,
Like, would you not
in
read
the
smut about that?
in the infinite multiverse, that's probably exists somewhere.
So I can comfortably fantasize about Obi-Wan Kenobi being cheeked up in the club.
I don't know about comfortably, but you can definitely fantasize about it.
If I can fantasize about it, I'm pretty comfortable.
I'll
Hold on,
give you
I'm
that
trying to.
one.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to the Force Unscripted. It's your boy Nikita back with the final installment for our three-part Obi-Wan Kenobi season finale. I'm super excited to wrap this season finale up and then get ready for the next season. Just kind of as a heads up, we will be taking probably about a month hiatus to get the new artwork for the next season done. We will be having a new member join our cast. His name is Exotic. He has been a Star Wars fan for a while, but I'm going to leave you guys wondering about him until the next season. For now, let's go ahead and begin our discussion about Obi-Wan from basically post Order 66 until he evaporates in the fourth movie, A New Hope, the first movie, I guess, if you're speaking non-chronologically. So, Hunter, I know you've watched Kenobi. What are your thoughts on Obi-Wan after his exile? Do you think that his exile was important to the character that he became once we get to A New Hope? Do you feel like his like commune with Qui-Gon was something that was where exile was necessary for him to reach the point that he gets to in A New Hope?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it exile because he wasn't really exiled. He was
It was
like
definitely a self-imposed exile.
it was
Let's be honest,
self-imposed,
but
sure.
it's still an
Okay,
exile.
yeah, I think our last episode and the one before really we talked about how kind of like uptight Obi-Wan was for a lot of his like life. But then like after the Kenobi show, like at the end, yeah, we see he's had like that development where he's able to actually commune with Qui-Gon at that point. I do think like that seclusion where he needed to like learn about himself was important, but also like moping around for 10 years was, I don't know, a little bit of a stretch. But also I think the way
Where'd you
that
get
they,
10 from?
or was it 8 years?
You talking about from the end of Order 66 to A New Hope?
No, to the Kenobi show.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
never mind. I okay, 10. I was confused for a second. I thought you were talking about like he was only exiled for 10 years. Like what the hell?
No, he was exiled till A New Hope. It just
Yeah,
we
like
get the
19,
Kenobi
20
show
years.
like, yeah, halfway
Yeah.
through.
I think they said Luke was like 8 or 9, so yeah, that lines up.
I do like the story of the Kenobi show. I do like the trauma that he has from having to what he thought was off his, brother, to learning he's alive, realizing that maybe like everything wasn't his fault the whole time and like he wasn't just the worst Jedi ever, and maybe he could still be a Jedi even though the order doesn't exist anymore, etc., etc. I think they did that story really well, like teaching him how to care and teach and be the master Jedi that he used to be, the like Qui-Gon 2.0. I didn't love like a few of the plot elements. Reva was a little just forced, I think,
I love
but
when she gets diffed by Vader though. That was
like the Inquisitor stuff, an Inquisitor turning on Vader, that kind of thing, like that's totally in line with what I would expect from Sith slash Jedi to Sith shenanigans, that kind of thing. but I just think the plot line there was a little too forced and like a little tacky. But like the rest of the story, I felt was good. Like him meeting Leia, we needed that connection between him and Leia to explain why of all the people she could have gone to once she had the Death Star plans, why she went to Obi-Wan, like how she knew to, I mean, maybe she did or didn't. I feel like she knew that C3PO and R2 were like old companions of Obi-Wan. Also, like we see,
If she did, then I have no recollection of that because that didn't happen in Legends or in Disney, as far as I know. She didn't find out that C3PO and R2D2 were related to their father until the Swarm Queen Wars. That's when they found out. So it was like I think Jason and Jaina were already like almost in their early 20s.
That's fair. So that was just coincidental, but the fact that she knew to send the plans to him at all, that was definitely a little bit explained. At least she trusted him. She knew that he was a man of his word and would do the right thing. And we see, like, I liked one of the plot lines. We see him seeing a clone trooper. I forget his name. They gave him a name, but the clone trooper who was like begging for money, just seeing like the legacy of what the war, what his troops, because I think that even that guy was a 501st trooper, so he probably would have known him like personally, or at least like worked with him at some point when him and Anakin were doing joint task forces and whatnot. So there were a lot of little plot points. I think they came together very well, and I think it did show us how they shaped, or how Obi-Wan was shaped from the more uptight rule following person that he was to the more calm and one with the forceness that Qui-Gon always seemed to be. I think we get a nice transition into him like realizing that the Force isn't just something you use, it's also something like you feel and commune with, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The difference between the living Force and the, was it physical Force or something like that?
Cosmic Force?
Sure.
The unifying Force, which one? There's a bunch of them.
The one that you use versus the one that's like everything. I forget. You're right. I think there's like 4 for the canon.
There's a couple of them. They always say that there's like 2, and it's never like 2. But it's funny. One of the things that I actually think Disney did better than Legends is that little time period post Order 66, pre A New Hope, because there are times in the Legends series where I wish they had gone more into it, and they really don't. There's one book that's written by John Jackson Miller that's called Kenobi. It's literally the same time period, except Obi-Wan, well, it's a little bit sooner than what takes place in the Disney timeline. Obi-Wan is basically doing his hermit in the desert. People are already starting to know him as Ben now, and like he is basically living a couple dozens of kilometers from like this town, where the big thing in the town is there's this vaporator that they got the settings right 10 years ago. It's like the prime settings. The owner of the vaporator was like the husband to like the main protagonist, who ends up falling for Obi-Wan, which I think is funny. Then the Tusken Raiders attack. They like blow up this perfect vaporator, and they're like, oh my god, we're never gonna get these settings right. And the story is just basically giving you background as to how Obi-Wan kind of transitions into his hermitship, I guess, basically going from full Obi-Wan to Ben. And in the story, he has a scene where he has to pull out his lightsaber in order to defend. He has to help them escape the Tuskens. He learns how to... The only relevant information from that book that is re-referenced is the fact that you learn that in this book, this is where he figures out how to simulate the sound of the Krayt Dragon, and learns that the Tusken Raiders, when they hear this, will run. And of course, that's one of the first iconic scenes in A New Hope, where Ben Kenobi comes up and does the sound and waves his hands, and the Tusken Raiders go, and run away. That's really all we get as far as Obi-Wan is concerned in the Legends timeline. So when I saw Kenobi, not only did I freak out because obviously it's the Obi-Annie that I know from the prequel trilogy, and Hayden Christensen, love that man. That is a beautiful man, and just getting to see them basically like rehash a lot of the choreography and some of the moments that they had as while they were still Master Padawan from, like the Clone Wars era. And it was just, I thought it was really good. I agree that there were some plot points that were either felt a little forced or I was just kind of uninterested in, but I absolutely and wholeheartedly loved the stuff with Leia, getting to meet Lola and all of that kind of stuff, because one thing that I was telling you about the other day was like when it came to episode 4, one thing that I never understood the first time watching through was why Leia chose this old man. Like, sure, friend of your dad, sure, knew him from the Clone Wars, which we didn't really know about when we saw them, but like, what would make you want to call up some old fucking dude in their, what, Obi-Wan is in his like 60s at that point, right? Like mid 50s, early 60s, somewhere around there. And you're just like, buddy, like, why are you talking to this old dude? Like, excuse me? And then you see like the Kenobi series and you're just like, oh, okay. He knew exactly who she was. Yeah, of course, he was watching over like Luke, and you knew he was watching over Luke, but we never really get to see what Obi-Wan got to do for Leia, and the Kenobi series is what opened us into that. And I also think it's cool that we also get to see what it's like to be so separated from the Force. Like we get hints of it in certain new canon information, like the information that we're provided with from Jedi Fallen Order. Like cutting yourself off from the Force is like losing a limb. It's something that you've just always had there your entire life. It's innate. You train it, you cultivate it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. It can be disorienting. It can change who you are. And you see Obi-Wan kind of deal with that, but I think that he does it in a way that shows his true connection with the Force. Like, sure, he may have cut himself off from it, but I still feel like he was intimately connected with it enough to that when it came back, of course it was like riding a bike. Of course it was like, meeting with an old friend who you haven't talked to in a while and you catch up immediately where you left off. Like, it felt really nice how they did it, because it's not like I was expecting them to do like maybe like a 1 or 2 episode where like he's trying to get it like he used to get it and he couldn't. But he goes from like, oh, I'm getting my shit smacked by Vader to like, wait a minute, I'm forgetting who I am. I'm the master, bitch. Like, you finna take some rocks to the fucking dome. Like, and he goes back and he's just like, he kicks Vader's ass. And then, of course, that leads to like my last point for the Kenobi series is I thought, and I still think this, and you can fight me on this if you want to, but I think that the most poetic thing that Disney has ever done in regards to Star Wars so far is the color work in the scene where Anakin / Vader talks to Obi-Wan with his mask broken. If you watch that scene and go back, you can see how they do the blue and the red light where like Anakin peeks through for a little bit, then Vader comes back through, and then you can see like there's this look on Obi-Wan that's kind of hope, but then it also fades to where he's seeing the darkness of the person that he once saw as a brother. Like, I thought that was just beautifully done. It was very poetic. It was just A1 Disney. Like, I shit on Disney all the time, but I give them a 10 out of 10 for that scene, if anything.
I actually agree with you. I saw that color shift when I was watching it the first time, where, he's talking like, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did, and you can see the relief almost on Obi-Wan's face. Like, the relief is very visible when he's like, I wasn't the one that ruined my friend here. My friend did this to himself. He built up this like evil persona and fully bought into it, and he's just eating it up because he can't bear to face like who he was before and what he's done. And I think that really helped. I mean, it did, clearly. It really helped Obi-Wan come to terms with what happened. Like, he really thought like he had to take out like somebody he loved so much, but in reality that person took their own self out and showed it to him, and even gave him like the out that he needed to be like, I'm gonna let go. Because before that, yes, he was getting his touch back, he was getting his groove back, realizing like this is what he needed to do. Anakin didn't die, maybe I can save him a little bit, let me see, maybe there's still some good in him. And then Vader being like, actually there's no more Anakin, I killed him. And Obi-Wan's like, well, let me just smack the out your ass. Like,
I feel like Anakin was able to pull through for that brief moment to let his friend know it's not you. Move the on. This is what I am now. You need to do your shit. I've done my shit. Anakin is dead. Now it's your turn to get your shit together, because the next time we see each other, that's it. I feel like Anakin was like trying his best to let him know that.
I think where the Anakin peeked through there, maybe not where he's like trying to, give his friend that closure. Maybe so. Maybe he felt that Obi-Wan was really conflicted and he wouldn't have like a good fight with it. Because Vader wants to, be the most powerful. He wants to prove he's the most powerful. So he doesn't want to fight you while you're wimpy as heck. He's just gonna force choke you, hold you in the air, and then light shit on fire. He did it like 2 episodes before that. Let me finish. Okay, when he got his ass whooped by his former master, he got scared, and the little boy Anakin peeked through when he got scared that he was gonna lose, just like he lost Padme, just like he lost to Obi-Wan the first time. Little boy Anakin pops out and he's like, "Oh, I screwed up. That's my master. I'm about to get my ass whooped." And then he gets mad. And then he gets mad that he's losing. And that's when he pops up as Vader. And he's like, "You know what? You. I killed that little baby. This is me now. I'm powerful. Yada yada."
Yeah, your argument falls apart when you say that he was scared. Because if you scared, why are you gonna give your opponent closure? That don't make no sense.
He knows that Obi-Wan isn't gonna kill him.
But why would you provide closure?
He's not providing. That's why I'm saying he's not providing closure. You're saying he's providing closure.
You said we record, right?
Yes. Let's go back and listen to the part where you said that he's giving Obi-Wan that like peace of mind kind of thing. Let's go back to that part, and then let's go to the part where I said actually he wasn't. He was just a scared little.
Yeah. Okay. So why, if he's a scared little, then why is he saying, "No, you didn't kill him, I did"? That's closure.
No.
That's the closure right there.
No. He didn't do that for Obi-Wan's sake. He did that for his own sake. He got pissed off that he was a scared little baby, and he was like, "You know what? That I'm mad. I'm actually Vader. I'm big boy powerful."
I would believe that if the colors matched, but he was blue the entire time he was saying that.
He wasn't blue when he was saying I'm the one that killed Anakin. He was red when he said that.
No, he was red towards the end of it. It switched.
That's what I'm saying.
It was blue in the beginning. But it was blue in the beginning.
That's the whole
okay.
Whatever. The colors were good. We both liked the colors. You think he was being nice. I think he was being a little bitch.
Don't fucking roll over.
I can't see your face. This is the problem.
Good.
I can't see your face to just roast you.
You don't deserve to see this beautiful face.
I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna come downstairs, and then we're gonna talk on the same microphone, and I'm gonna look you in the eyes.
Pussy. Okay, no. I hear you. Stop. It was a joke. It was prank, bro. It was Hunter. It was prank. It was a prank.
And that right there, that's the blue.
F you. But no, I even though we may not see exactly eye to eye on it, the symbolism and the poeticism was beautiful. I mentioned, I think it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago, that like that's one thing that I love about Star Wars is like the poetic elements that you're just like, yeah, that's very beautiful, that's very artistic, and it makes me appreciate the series that much more.
We had like similar discussions about the color change and the scene change briefly during the Ahsoka series. I think the new Filoni-verse / the others, I mean, it is the Filoni-verse now because he is the chief creative officer or whatever, but I think that is one of the few things. I mean, they've done a lot of things good, especially in the Mandalorian department, but I think Disney has done a very good job of using the scenery and not just the words and actions of the shows to portray like really powerful and like moving moments, like imagery, that kind of thing, like messages, especially when it comes to Vader / Anakin.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I know it's kind of off topic for the show, but it makes me excited to see how they do stuff like Acolytes, where they don't really have anything from the past to kind of build off of, like this stuff is stuff that's, like it's grandfathered content, like we have the Clone Wars, we have the prequels, so like the base is there, but for this there's really not one. And so I want to see how they kind of try to work those elements of poeticism in and symbolism, because they're gonna do it, like they're going to do it, they always have, really, but it's just when you know what you're looking for, it's easier to see. And so I feel like knowing that they really don't have a base with some of the new content that they're going to be putting out, and we know stuff to look for. I think it's going to make the future series for Star Wars pretty bright. I know I like in like the Luke Skywalker episode, one of the things that I was mentioning was that I was apprehensive because, you know, here's my favorite series of all time, not just sci-fi, just favorite series of all time in the hands of Disney, and they could tremendously it up, which they have, but they also have the potential to do some great work, which they also have. So I gotta take the good with the bad, but using Kenobi as like a starting point for what I could possibly expect makes me hopeful, just because I mean, as we mentioned before, Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the name brand Star Wars character names. You know, you hear Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know what I'm talking about. Everyone always loves and respects Obi-Wan to some degree, and it's just I am happy that the Kenobi series exists because that is the period of his that's really the period of his life we know the least about. Like obviously with the creation of Planet Stoojon, we know a little bit about before the Jedi Order, but with the Kenobi series, we finally have a little bit of a kind of gap filler between episode 3 and episode 4, which I really do like, and I want to see if they end up. I think Kenobi is just a one shot, but I would like another couple, like another 6 to 8 episodes, even if it was just that, just to kind of see like what are the, you know, the chosen one twins like in their teenage years, because we know Leia ends up going into the Imperial Senate at the age of 15 or 16. We know Luke just does country farm boy shit all the time, shooting womp rats with his T16, you know. So I would like to see a little bit part of that. I also want to see what happens that Obi-Wan ages 40 years in the span of 20, because
Okay,
I'm just thinking about it. Okay.
I have a
Is
theory
it because of the sun?
Well, okay, there is the dual sun theory. I mean, that's absolutely a possibility, but potentially this is just a very far stretch. You know, in Revenge of the Sith, when Palpatine uses the Force lightning, he ages like ridiculously in that small scene versus
Yes.
Mace.
Yes.
Obi-Wan starts to communicate with Qui-Gon. He starts to really tap into the
No.
Force.
No. That's
I said
not
it was
how
a
it works
stretch.
with the
I said it was a really far
that's
stretch.
more than a stretch. That's like a baby the size of Chris Griffin walking out of his mom's vagina. Like that is more than just a stretch, brother. That's not how that works.
That's a
That is a
dare. That's a
specific
dare.
drawback of the dark side, my friend.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of other than the sun. I mean, there are two suns. I mean, sun aging is 100% a thing. That's why I don't go outside. You can see my beautiful.
That's what I think. I mean, that's like the
flawless
most
face.
logical thing that I could think of. But like, just like thinking about the timeline. So like, when he picks up Anakin, he's 19. 10 years pass between that point and the end of the Clone Wars. So he's like basically 30, and then 20 years pass. But that man does not look 50 years old.
He does not. He definitely looks like 75.
Maybe just casting issues at the time with Alec Guinness and everything, but
Or they just didn't have the timeline solidified when they were.
That is also true.
Like, totally. They 100% could have set the Clone Wars at like 10 years earlier to like make it all make, but they didn't. Why? I don't know.
I love the fact that, okay, well, just to follow up on what you just said, first off, Vader is also technically what, like 39, 40?
Yeah,
and
40.
he looks
older than
way
Obi-Wan.
worse. Yeah, exactly. But the other thing is, I love the one scene that people get from A New Hope where it's like, I fought with your father in the Clone Wars, and then they take that one scene from that one show, and it's like, you don't know what this is, but your children are gonna love it.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that one. I actually wanted to go back to your point a minute ago about like we don't have much stuff, and the season 2 of like Kenobi, you'd like to see more. So I think there's like very little we've seen about getting Kenobi season 2, and I think that's partially due to the like really poor viewership that it's gotten. I think Kenobi and Ahsoka are like the 2 least watched shows that they've done, like anything. Just unfortunately, like the Ahsoka, for the fact that like people didn't watch the Clone Wars cartoons, so they weren't caught up, or Mandalorian, so like they had no clue what the heck was going on at all. Also, like Kenobi, they're just like, I mean, okay, it's Kenobi, and then they got like this side plot about this Inquisitor that they don't really care about, and it was tacky. Like literally, if you just pull Reva out, keep in like all the other Inquisitors, literally just pull out Reva, your viewership goes up.
I feel like I think
And
I think
that's not a knock on the actor. Like I think there's they gave her like such a bad like I just think that portion of the plot was just done so poorly. And why did she find Luke? Like
yeah, it was a little bit. The series was too short. Also, they're
Yes.
okay. Now, as much as I love it, and especially I love that one scene that we were talking about, the series planning was kind of done poorly. I'm not gonna lie. 8 episodes wasn't it. The plot with her wasn't it. Like I wanted, if you were gonna include the Inquisitors and Tatooine and Luke, like make a fight. Like that should have been a fight. Like a fight.
Yep.
Like there was so much they could have done with it, which is why I was hoping that maybe there would be like a second shoot off, or at least if not a Kenobi shoot off, something from that time period. We just don't have well in Disney, as
We
far
have
as I know, we
Rebels,
don't.
but I mean,
Yeah, but Rebels is still, I guess.
you do get a small bit of Obi-Wan development there too.
Yes, but he's already old man at that point.
Yeah, but we get some very good development him versus Maul.
Yes, but that's it. It's just
I
him
know.
and Maul.
I know.
Yeah, I want something. I want to know.
But like
about...
that's what they did. They took that plot line. They literally took Maul and then they were like, let's make Reva do it too.
Yeah. What I want is I want the second Obi-Wan training arc. I want to see what he does, what he learns about the cosmic and the living force to turn him to Qui-Gon 2.0 by the time Luke is of age. That's what I want to see.
So here's the thing, like the viewership for Kenobi wasn't that great, right?
I don't give a fuck about the viewership.
No. Listen. A lot of that is gonna be like what you're describing right now. A show kind of centered around that. I feel like a lot of it is gonna be very lore heavy, and I don't know if they're willing to commit to something that like does the lore like that.
I don't care what they're willing to commit to. I still want it.
Well, I think if they did a book that does it all, I think that'd be great. I don't know that they could do I don't know that they would do a series, but they could absolutely commission a book to go like really in depth into that, and people would eat it up.
I feel like there's such a polarization of the content that real Star Wars fans want, and people who just like Star Wars want.
Right. I am excited. We did mention Acolyte. I am excited for that because it's meant to focus on the dark side. I hope they don't just do like a dark side turns light side kind of thing. I hope they really dive into the nuances of falling to the dark side or even being in the dark side from the get-go,
Do they ever explain in Disney how Palpatine was able to like shroud the Jedi from the dark side?
Like from his own self?
Because you know how he does it in Legends, right?
It's been a hot minute since I read that.
It's either Sith or Jedi, one of them. It's like an artifact under the fucking temple.
Yeah.
And it makes them fucking hazy.
I do know about that, yeah.
But I don't do they ever explain how he does it or how it's done in Disney timeline?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it's just one of those like he concealed his presence in the Force kind of thing.
Oh, that's dumb. How you gonna just conceal the culmination of thousands of years of the rule of two?
Well, the thousands of years of rule of two have been kind of hiding for a hot minute, so maybe they got really good at it.
But you might be right. Like, I mean, that was one thing that Yoda admits in the episode 3 novelization. He's like, these thousands of years, we Jedi have remained the same, but the Sith have changed, and now we can't fight them anymore. Let's see. Brick 3PO says, Force stealth, also referred to as Force concealment or buried presence, was a power that was used by highly skilled Force sensitives to mask their Force alignment, their ability to use... Well, I know about this, but it's just a possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. The thing about Force concealment and hiding in the Force, that becomes like integral to the Jedi like post Yuzong Vong War. They figure out how to do that shit, and it's like crack. In fact, that's the only reason why Jason goddamn stupid Solo kills my badass.
Yeah.
I miss Mara Jade.
In a tunnel with poison.
Yeah. Him. But yeah, I mean, that's really all the content that we have. I mean, like that's the main part of the content. Obviously, when we get to, like 20 years after the end of the Clone Wars, we get a bit more of lore. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say like let's hit A New Hope. Let's
No shit, Sherlock. Where we gotta
okay, okay.
stop? He gotta die at some point, right?
Okay, you're right. You're right.
But yeah,
You were
a
sound
lot is.
awfully like you were about to close out something, and I was like, hold up.
Well, I'm closing out that portion because there's a 10-year jump skip. The mall fight again, excellent, 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 excellent symbolism by Disney. Just my favorite part of the entire fight, and it's not really even dealing with the dialogue so much as it is him shifting through his forms, right? Because he starts off the stance, like how he used to hold his lightsaber, then he changes to Qui-Gon's, or he goes, is it his original, then his, I forget the order that it's in.
He goes I think it was like
it was his first one, then it was Qui-Gon's, and then it was his like final one, right?
No, it was his
he
first
ends with
one,
Qui-Gon's.
then his cocky one, and then Qui-Gon's one.
And then he stops on Qui-Gon's to bait Maul into fighting him, correct? Yeah, and then he's like, "Well, I've learned from my mistakes. I don't have the hubris that I did back then. I'm not angry like I was back then, And
he doesn't have the hubris that Maul has, because Maul's like, oh, I know that stance, I got him, he's dead, this is easy, and he just charges right in.
And then as you made the comment, he gets sliced the other way this time.
Hey, you gotta make
man's really got quartered by Obi-Wan
literally
Kenobi.
got quartered. And then there's like a very brief dialogue between him as he's dying with Obi-Wan, where he says, like, is he the chosen one?
Is he the chosen one? Yeah.
And Obi-Wan's like, he is.
But he's not.
He doesn't.
He's not. You want to fight about this again?
I'm not fighting about the chosen one shit. I'm not fighting about the chosen one shit. I don't want to get into this again. Okay. We don't have enough bandwidth for that, all right?
Not with that attitude. I can argue for hours with you. Are you joking?
Yeah, we've been arguing for like 3 days. So
we've been arguing since high school. Give me more jerky, man.
It's in the freezer.
Wait, for real?
Yes.
This motherfucker don't realize I'm downstairs. Hold on, I'm gonna get my ass.
Just don't eat it all, because that's my last bag.
Nope.
I will come down there.
Nope, my jerky. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sitting down. I sat down. You're a bully. He's bullying me. Is he coming downstairs?
There better not be jerky in his hand right now. I'll feed him after this.
But yeah, I mean, like, it was, again, very, very well done. I think the dialogue could have been better as far as, like, the chosen one stuff. But I understand what he was saying, right?
It's so because we got Maul's like whole thing. He's like, I want to get back on top. Maul's always trying to get back on top, and he's like predicting Palpatine's plan. He's trying to get around him, like get on top of his plan, outthink him. He's always trying to like one up Palpatine, and he always fails because he sucks. And I mean, Maul's awesome, but he sucks. And he gets whooped, and he's like, Maul finally has like a little sense of clarity. He's like, I wasn't the guy. I wasn't him.
One thing that's interesting to think about when you think, how like D&D alignments, you have it like the grid, like lawful, neutral, chaotic. Yeah. I think that as far as Star Wars goes, Maul is the only real example we have of a neutral evil. I think he's the only one.
Neutral evil.
Because like lawful evil would be like Dooku. Yeah. Chaotic evil would be like Palpatine.
Or Vader. Yeah.
No, you're right. I feel like Asajj kind of falls into like
chaotic good.
I don't think chaotic good. I think chaotic good is Anakin.
Yeah.
I think Asajj Ventress falls into like actual like just neutral territory, like just true neutral.
See, I in certain like at the beginning, I don't know, towards the end, she was more of a G than she was. Like
you gotta understand, she was manipulated and abused. That's why she was the way she was. Right. It wasn't her fault.
Right. It wasn't, right? And so, like, I don't know that she was, like, full neutral, but...
I don't think she's full neutral. I think she's just the closest thing that we would have to that.
That's fair. She had all the alignments.
Yeah. And then, let's see, like, lawful neutral would probably be Obi-Wan. Yeah. No, he would be lawful good, for sure.
Yeah.
Lawful neutral would be Mace Windu.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And then, chaotic neutral would be, like... Quinlan Voss, probably. It's the only one I can really think of.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to think. Chaotic neutral.
What would Baylan be then?
Baylan would be lawful evil.
Okay.
Because he falls into like the Dooku-esque kind of
Yeah.
character. And then like I feel like neutral good would be like Ahsoka, probably.
The Ahsoka the Grey, sure.
I think even Ahsoka, like I think Ahsoka post Mandalorians.
Okay, what about Ahsoka,
Before
like,
that,
end of Ahsoka show?
I think she's still like neutral good. Like she's in the middle of that good part because she's not
I
chaotic for sure, and she's
No, but
not
I think
lawful either. We would have to see what they follow up with
you're
because we
right,
don't
we
have enough
do.
information.
We do, but I do think like the post Anakin fight thing in the World Between Worlds, we get more like closer towards lawful good than neutral good.
Possibly, but I still feel like I mean she did go against the New Republic. I feel like that's not lawful.
Lawful.
I feel
Okay,
like she
is she
wants
being?
to
Is
she
she?
wants
Is
to lean more towards chaotic. I don't think she ever leans more towards lawful at no point. Like maybe when she's like brand new Jedi hasn't been trained by Anakin yet, maybe
no? She was
Plo
chaotic
Koon-
good at that point.
Well, I feel like she was chaotic good as soon as she meets him, like after their first mission, after the Clone Wars movie, because then she's like, oh, I can get away with this. So yeah, sure, but like when she tries to stick to the book in the beginning, but then she's like, my master's not, so why would I?
I think once she has that conversation with Anakin, that heated discussion. We're getting way off topic, but I think when she has
it's
that,
okay, it's okay.
that
It's unscripted
discussion,
for a reason.
she moves. And I'm not talking about New Republic law for lawful stuff. I'm talking about like the Jedi law. I think she moves way more towards lawful good than neutral good once she's had that like closure with Anakin there.
Possibly. Like I said, I still think we'd have to see.
I love how
more.
all of these series are wrapped around closure with Anakin.
Well, yeah, he's the chosen one. Cough, cough.
No comment.
No, you're mad. I can see it in your face.
No comment.
Yeah, I can see you. But yeah, Obi-Wan kind of never really shifts. I feel like if anything, he goes from like lawful good to neutral good. Like that's basically it.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess he's a little chaotic to be like, yo, let's pull up to the Death Star and I'm gonna go with the tractor beam and
Let me just go
evaporate. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna be Qui-Gon for just this last little bit.
There's always a bigger fish.
And then of course, I guess the last thing that we can really wrap up is, like Tatooine to the Death Star. I think one of my favorite moments from A New Hope is Obi-Wan's acknowledgement of Luke before he fades into the Force. One thing that like, and honestly, it'll almost make me cry to this day too, is just seeing him turn and look at Luke trying to escape to the Falcon and then turning back, putting his saber up, closing his eyes, and just like accepting it. Because I feel like...
And he smiles. Don't forget they like smirks a little bit.
Yes, true.
He's
and
like, watch this shit.
I feel like that scene means so much more to me now after seeing Kenobi, because it almost feels like he was doing for Luke what Anakin popping through the Vader persona did for him. And of course, like we know, like Luke flips the out and like is sad, of course, because like the old hermit that grew up down the block is all of a sudden dead after learning all this shit, and he still talks to him as a Force ghost. But like I feel like Obi-Wan was trying to say, like, it's in your hands now, it's okay, just trust in the Force. And then he lets himself fade into the Force, and again, another like pretty symbolic moment.
So I'd like to discuss this a little bit, why they did that here, because I think there was an interview where Lucas came out and said like Obi-Wan wasn't originally gonna die. That was like a...
I don't think he should have died. No, honestly.
But here was the reasoning. Okay. He wasn't gonna die originally, but then they were gonna get to the fight with the Death Star, and what was this old man gonna be doing while everyone else is flying the spaceships? How is he gonna help Luke out?
He was a commander in the Clone Wars.
It doesn't matter. Okay, he's not a commander in the rebellion. That kind of thing. Whatever. But this was Lucas said, like he was gonna be sitting like twiddling his thumbs during this fight. What were they gonna do with him? Oh, how is he gonna provide guidance to Luke? Oh, let's make him a ghost. Let's make him a talking ghost.
That's what they get for making him so old. He was still in the Star Wars universe where they live to be 120. He's not even middle aged yet. He could have flown a X-Wing.
And then after that, they're like, oh, wait a minute, he doesn't have a teacher no more. Now we got to invent another one. Here comes little green frog.
Damn, all these old people evaporating in front of Luke. I bet he's scared of steam.
Like, Yoda was not in the original plans, but they needed somebody else to teach him after they killed off Obi-Wan.
Thank God for Frank Oz. But yeah, they could have. I feel like that is just poor planning, because Obi-Wan definitely could have done shit during the Death Star run. But like, for sure, he's not even middle-aged. He looks like
they didn't know that yet.
I know, but I'm saying, like, now that we know, like, he's not even middle-aged, but he looks like he's 1 foot in the ground when they pick him up in the what is it, the Dune Sea? Like,
you try living on a planet with 2 suns and it's only a desert, and you don't have any of the like coal stuff to put around your eyes to protect them and shit.
I fucking love the Family Guy parodies of Star Wars. What was the episode 4 one called? Blue Harvest or something like that, where he tells one of the characters, it's Luke, so Chris, he's like, yeah, I shoot womp rats with my T-16, and then one of the characters goes, don't you know that's the sign of a serial killer? And he goes, there's 2 sons and no women, what am I supposed to do?
There's 2, yeah, it's all aliens.
But yeah, that is all I have. I mean, we get to episode 4 and we get the closure. We get his final meeting with Vader. Vader finally... Vader doesn't even technically off him. He just kind of fades into the Force as like the lightsaber.
Which freaked Vader the out.
Good. He deserved it. He absolutely deserved it.
I forget if it was like a novelization or whatever, but that freaked Vader the out, because he was like, where the hell did he go? Like, I just...
Yeah, because he specifically talks about like how his saber didn't come in contact with anything.
Mm-hmm. He's like, something ain't right.
That's gotta be such a piss off. Imagine getting like KS'd by the Force. Like, you finally meet your teacher after 10 years of getting your ass beat, and you're just like, ha, I'ma finally kid you now, old ass man. And Force is like, nope,
he's mine. I love doing that when I'm playing League of Legends. Just, oh, there's a guy across the map. I'm gonna Zoe Q, like, flash ult. That's my kill.
Please do not talk about League of Legends in my good Christian podcast. I gotta go back and edit this out now. Like, what? Why would you
just cut it out? I'm just talking. Cut it out. I don't care.
Talking about bad shit. Don't talk about League of Legends around me.
Why'd you use the term KS?
Because that applies for more than just League of Legends. KS has been around since fucking CSGO in the 90s. Shut up.
These good Christian people don't know what a KS is.
I'm gonna tell your mama.
Do it.
She gonna be so disappointed.
In what?
Talking about Vader pocket and now this.
She listens to this. She heard it.
Ooh.
I'm sure.
Oh my God! Someone's selling a Grand Inquisitor lightsaber on Facebook Marketplace right now. Buy it from
Facebook Marketplace and finish the damn podcast.
I'm waiting on you to stop talking about League of Legends first. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. You know we record, right? I can see your face right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end. It is only fitting that we take a moment to celebrate the life and legacy of a legendary figure in Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, Obi-Wan the homie, whatever you want to call him. He was a wise and skilled Jedi Master that played a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of the galaxy far, far away. From his early days as a Padawan under Qui-Gon, who we know is the Star Wars hippie that we love, to his selfless sacrifice on the Death Star, Obi-Wan exemplified the true essence of a Jedi. His teachings, wisdom, and commitment to the principles of the Force left an indelible mark on the entire Star Wars saga, really. Whether he was facing down Sith Lords, leading the clone army, or watching over a young Luke Skywalker from the shadows of Tatooine, Obi-Wan's dedication to the greater good never wavered. As we reflect on his life, let us not forget the powerful lessons he imparted, from "the Force will be with you always" to "you are the chosen one, Anakin." Obi-Wan's words echo through the ages, reminding us of the enduring power of hope, redemption, and the Force. In times of darkness, Obi-Wan Kenobi's unwavering spirit serves as a beacon, inspiring us to stand against the forces of evil and to believe in the possibility of redemption. His legacy lives on not only in the Star Wars universe, but also in the hearts of fans around the world. So here's to you, Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Jedi Master, a defender of peace, and a symbol of hope. May the Force continue to guide us as we carry his teachings forward and strive to make our own galaxies a better place. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And of course, may the Force be with you always.